Yuki Terumi is a really bad person. And not like a bad person like Ino's a bad person, where it's like, oh, but she has, humanity that she's trying to get back. Yuki Terumi is the pure incarnation of evil, who desires only to hurt you for his own pleasure. And I love him to death. Something about this character just speaks to me. So follow along as I try to explain where Yuki Terumi came from and why he's pretty darn cool. A long while ago,
our whole universe was in a hot, dense state.
The god of the Blazblue universe, Amaterasu, said, I want there to be things, and so there was. She created 2 robot friends to help her out with all the creation and destroying that was necessary to keep the world in balance. Everything was going great until...
Hey, it's really messed up that you keep building stuff after I destroy it. It's like you're stopping me from fulfilling my purpose. Wait a minute, did I just have a thought? I'm not supposed to think.
After the destruction unit got free will, somehow, they decided they wanted to protect it more than anything else and banished themselves from heaven to crash down on the... What do they call the Blazblue, planet? Like, where they live. Hold on, let me look this up. Oh, hell no, they didn't name it the Blazblue world. After they crash landed, they split themselves mind and body, the mind becoming Yuki Terumi, and the body becoming the shell for what would later become... Terumi eventually found Relius, who promised to make him a new body that he could find a host inside of. That body was named Cosma Caval, which had free will and decided he didn't want to join up with Terumi. Terumi did a little bit of gaslighting, a little bit of terrorism, and eventually convinced Cosma to join with him by touching the kiln. The kiln is a machine that, creates multiverses. Just don't worry about it. Well, anyways, they get to the kiln, activate it, and then 9 shows up and mind controls his ass. As soon as Terumi got a piece of freedom, it was immediately taken away by this, I have a lot of opinions about this. Terumi, being pissed off, decides to do a little bit of schizophrenia and splits his mind between him and Cosma, allowing Cosma to act while Terumi is being mind controlled. Cosma happens to pull one of the baddest bitches in the Blazblue universe and gets her to break the mind control virus on Yuki Terumi. Yeah, it's a virus, I don't know why they call it that. Terumi breaks free, rejoins with Cosma, kills the both of them, and throws them inside the kiln. He then goes to kill Jubei until he's stopped by... and thrown into the kiln himself. So he's a ghost again, meets up with Relius, and Relius is like, my boy, I've got you, and creates another clone that looks a lot like Cosma again, for Mr. Terumi. They made a few improvements on this body, namely making it not a pussy. And so this new body, named Hazama, was willingly accepted by Terumi. Anyways, Hazama goes, does a little arson, does a little child endangerment, does a little kidnapping. This is what kicks off Ragna's story. Hazama tries to fuse with Noelle to become a demon, gets struck down by heaven, and forced to separate again. But because of how he was struck, the body wasn't destroyed. Okay, intermission, let's talk about something in the Blazblue universe, and that is a silly little concept known as observation. If you're a ghost, phantom, or something of the sorts, the only way you can exist is if people acknowledge your existence, specifically very powerful people. This is important for Terumi. He spends most of his time as a ghost, and because of that, he needs people to recognize that he exists. And, like most middle children, decides to become a problem so that people continually acknowledge him. Because he is a god of destruction, he can observe himself for a short amount of time. But the only way he gets his power as a god of destruction is the more people hate him. So, if he wants to get observed, he has to be hated, and if he wants to observe himself, he has to be hated, leading to this negative spiral that leads him to become crueler, and meaner. Okay, back to story time. Terumi does a little bit of trolling and needs to reconnect with Hazama after getting beat up by... Hazama wants to break up, and Terumi acts like he's okay with it and cries home in his teenage journal. Terumi says he's never needed you, Rebecca, and decides to find a new boo to host him. That new boo happens to be... recreating the original Susanoo unit when he was a god. Everyone teams together to fight Susanoo. Susanoo kicks everyone's ass, but at the very end, Ragna is able to rip Terumi's soul out of the Susanoo unit. Terumi and Ragna fly into the kiln, while Jin is replaced inside of the Susanoo unit, recreating... And this is where we get to the goofy awe part. You see, Jin is perceived in the world as a great hero, and meaning all the observers observe Jin as a great hero. But because Terumi was inside the Susanoo unit, they still see the Susanoo unit as Terumi's body. Meaning, by a technicality, the observers no longer think Terumi is hated as they carry Jin's heroism in their body. Meaning all of Terumi's power is now gone, and Ragna is able to kill him successfully. Well, that was the end of Terumi, but there are still 3 other Snake Boys. What happened to them? Susanoo was replaced by... Kazuma got evaporated in the kiln when he first died, and that leaves just Hazama, so that means and he jumped. Gah. So, in the end, why do I care about Yuki Terumi? One of the things I like about Blazblue is they're not afraid to have objectively evil characters. Like in Guilty Gear, everyone's the hero and they're just working towards something. But in Blazblue, Terumi is vindictive and spiteful and hates people with a passion. He's not the kind of evil where they're trying to build a brighter future in their image and destroy everything just to rebuild humanity as their savior. All Terumi wants to do is destroy everything around him and cause you as much pain as possible. Terumi is one of the realest haters, and you gotta give him respect. While Terumi is the man of the hour, I feel like I should give some props to the other characters in this story. Every version of Terumi is another version of a cruel and unyielding character, but they all have something different to say. Kazuma as a character is weak. He stays inside, he reads books, and doesn't really want to interact with people, but he still holds that hatred inside of him. And when he's looked down upon by 9, he finally snaps and breaks and accepts Terumi, which I think is a compelling story, but when it's said back to you, it really does just sound like the Joker. Hazama is evil, but in a very Danganronpa sort of way. Hazama wasn't made with emotions, but he wants to experience them. And so, the reason Hazama does evil, horrific acts is because he wants to feel disappointed in himself. He wants to feel the regret and grief of doing a horrific actions, but he'll never reach it, leading him to do more and more evil. The character is self-defeating because he wants to be defeated. And finally, Susanoo. Susanoo matters because you see this 20-frame overhead coming. You see it, and you're not blocking it. Guaranteed. Susanoo is a god of destruction and destroys. It's very straightforward. He's not wanting to do it out of cruelty. It's just his nature, and his gameplay is just really freaking cool. Welp, I've been Old Reliable. It's been a pleasure to see you all again. Wait, what's that? Oh, you don't know who I am? Oh, well, let me fill you in, you little goober. You little silly guy. I make videos like these, like once a week, and then the rest of it are shitposts, so, be careful around that. I'm going to start streaming on YouTube now, mainly because I don't think Twitch is doing too hot, so if you see some random person, like, streaming on my account, there's a lot of lore, you're just gonna have to bear with it. I have a Twitter. I post memes from the videos that I'm making and just like pictures of horny anime women, so, do with that what you will. Alright, I'll be seeing you all. I hope you all enjoyed. New one of these videos coming out next week, hopefully. See ya.